perspectives, they are only protecting their own territories. Ganun.
Sa social networks, Facebook and other networks, medyo negative yung impression ng mga kababayan natin against sa Malaysia. May nagsasabi pa nga na paano sila maging credible facilitator ng Philippine conflict na sila mismo ay napapatay nila yung mga Pilipinos na doon sa Sabah. But of course, we would appeal to the public not to be judgmental on all of these things. Dahil naman, each and every country has its own sovereignty, pinoprotektahan, its own interest. No? Biglang sumulpot itong issue na ito, armed issue pa, hindi lang claims of territories, but armado yung Pilipino pumunta doon. So somehow, the Malaysian government has to respond according to their interest.
Yes.
But what's important, I think, is for the Philippine government, no, to use dialogue, no, to use dialogue as an instrument to resolve this conflict, not only with the Kirams but also with the Malaysian government. Now, back to you, Mus, yung sinasabi mo na second scenario na nakikita mo about the negotiations itself.
Okay. So,
Bakit? Anong kaibahan ng MNLF agreement or negotiations and itong MILF negotiations vis-a-vis the Sultanate structure or Sultanate system? How does this Sultanate play sa negotiations?
It's good thing kasi ngayon sa framework agreement of the Bangsamoro, in fact, we are still in the process of crafting the basic law. So, kung lalabas sa consultations natin na existing na talaga itong mga sultanates, then they have to move forward. They have to be part of the equation in solving or addressing the problems in Mindanao.
So you mean most there's still a chance that the sultanates will be recognized by the MILF under the MILF negotiations? Or kasi narinig ko
they're claiming that they will not recognize it.
Oh, sinasabi na Ghazali in a statement, we recognize the sultanates as far as its historical relevance. But kung bubuhayin o hindi, that's already out of the picture. Parang hindi nila gustong buhayin pa yung sultanate na system.
Yeah, but syempre that's
their position.
Yeah, that's the position of the MILF. But if you try to look at it, 'di ba? Bakit develop ang Indonesia? Bakit develop ang Malaysia? 'Di ba? Na halos magkapareho masyado yung tao, 'di ba? Parang kasi yan yung sinasabi ko kanina na yung post-colonial, 'di ba? Parang nagkaroon tayo ng new government ngayon na yung mga tao diyan sa mga kinasasakupan ng gobyerno na yan ay may mga historical and traditional basis. Pwede namang pag-aralan yung framework ng Malaysia or even in Yogyakarta in Indonesia na they give functions
to the sultanate.
No, the sultanate. Pero hindi naman kasi siguro ang kuwang kasi diyan is the misnomer kasi is parang sultanates, parang old fashioned, di ba? Parang feudalistic government ganun. Hindi naman ganoon ever since the reason why nga nagkaroon ng successful yung hindi pag-colonize sa Mindanao is because of the sultanates, it's because of the datus. Di ba? Because of Sultan Kudarat, because of the established institution of the Muslim community.
Well, nabanggit mo na kanina that the MNLF is somehow connected with the sultanates.
Yes.
You mentioned about the wives of Nur Miswari. But more than the wives, anong relationship nila in terms of talaga bang endorsed or part ng struggle ng MNLF yung sultanates before?
I think so. Kasi if you try to look at it, nung nagkaroon ng negotiation yung MNLF and GRP, pa-time ni Ramos, hindi niya kinuha yung Malaysia as part of the negotiator. Ang kinuha ni Miswari is yung Indonesia. Kasi nga, alam niya na may
conflict.
May conflict. So, na-factor in na ni Miswari yung rights or yung gusto ng mga Tausugs na somehow, you have to settle it in an international court of justice na somehow may mas higher pa na third party to really settle the issue.
So, yung manpower ng MNLF, yung armed force nila, somehow nanggaling ba dito sa sultanates?
Ay,
Wala nang, may blessings ba o hindi na? Kanya-kanya na yun, by clans na lang.
Yeah, pero sa level na yan siguro it's better to
Yung history, not
Yeah.
now. Yung
Hindi, yun nga, bali it's better to look at it in a proper perspective kasi I might be quoted in a different situation.
Pero clans ba din yung
Yeah, of
doon?
course, yeah.
Yung mga Persa, clans din?
Clans pa rin yan.
Ah,
Yan talaga yung
Kasi
mga warlords.
exactly. Traditional families to, di ba?
Oo, traditional family.
Kasi kung makita mo sa MLF, parang kabaliktaran. Kasi maalala mo yung nagpunta tayo kay Juan,
Kay Gatsali.
kay Gadzali, na ang question ko sa kanya was, sa palagay ho ba ninyo, if the MOA ID pa yun, if the MOA ID will succeed, it will be supported by the warlords or the traditional power brokers in the communities. Oh.
Ang kwan kasi dyan, hindi naman lahat ng clans are warlord or oppressive.
Of course.
So, kasi, like for example, in the heartland of the MILF are actually big clans din. The Pendatuns, the Matalams. All these clans, I don't think any armed group will have mass base kung wala siyang support ng mga
Clans.
traditional leaders. Sa clan kasi, iba-ibang kanyan eh. Merong sa clan na nagpanig na sa gobyerno, merong mga clan na nag-remain pa rin doon sa communities nila. So, even sa MILF, ganun din. But in the case naman kasi ng MILF is there are more Islamic principles and yung perspectives nila are rooted into the Islamic identity.
Okay? So, sa ngayon, as far as the Philippine government is concerned, no? Ito yung last point gusto ko i-bring out sa iyo on the issue of the current crisis, no? Anong tingin mo ang response ng government? How do you assess the initial, the current, and the future response of the government?
The initial response of government are really way out of the line. It's really, kumbaga, I'm talking as an academe, I'm talking as a neutral person. Talagang it's...
Way of the line, what do you mean by that?
Like for example, you know that the psyche ng mga Muslim, ng mga Tausug, you do not give them, parang you push them in the edge na pag-suicide yung tao. Kasi had the negotiations really further, had the people really went to the kirams, to the yung kanya, yung Raja Muda niya, then ma-avoid sana yung conflict.
When you say yung Raja Muda, di ba, bakit ganun?
Raja Muda is the young prince.
Akala ko pangalan talaga ni...
It's the title.
Title ang Raja Muda.
Raja Muda is the title. Yun na yung young prince.
So supposed to be siya yung successor.
Yeah, supposedly among the kirams.
Among the kirams, sa linya nila.
yung sa kanilang...
So Raja Muda, siya pala yung prince. No? Kaya, so
second, at least ngayon, medyo...
So malaking kakulangan.
Malaking kakulangan. Yung sa simula.
Sa simula.
Ngayon, medyo nag-adjust yung government natin, tinitingnan yung ibang situations. They're hoping na pwede nila ma-troubleshoot. And ang nakikita ko lang kasi is because of the upcoming elections, both countries so kaya hindi talaga na...
So nag-factor in talaga ang election?
Nag-factor yung election eh. Kasi syempre, mistake move mo dyan, advance ng opposition, mga ganun na factor.
Kasi kung medyo weak ang iyong kamay, magsabi yung, kita nyo, hindi kaya ng gobyernong ito.
Ganun yung kanya.
Pero apparently, the Philippine government now, ang attitude niya was, yung pinapakita niya, strong.
Yeah.
Strong kasi gusto niya kasuhan lahat ng, yung mga ganun mo. So, anong reaction mo dyan? When the Department of Justice Secretary comes out on TV and say, lahat ng bumalik dito, lahat ng kasama sa Royal Army ng Sulu, kakasuhan. Anong...
at siguro, buka, siyempre, in the eyes of law, talaga namang...
merong violation.
May violation. Pero, yung sinasabi kong, ang gobyerno kasi natin, ang gobyerno ng Pilipinas, is a new government. Diba? New state lang ito. Na merong mga tao na they live yung mindset nila 1,000 or 100 years ago eh. Kaya nga, yung mga tao na yun, mga tausug na yun, sinasabi nila, bakit mo kami pagbawalan, na i-claim, amin naman yan. Yung mga ganung mentality ba? So, the Philippine government should really continue dialoguing. Once mapaintindi mo sa kanila yung situation, once na makapag-usap ng mga ayos, saka pag-usapan yung anong law or anong punishment ang ibibigay mo. Kasi if you do that, then you might create more problems. Simba ko lang, what if you'll have more suicide bombers, yung mga ganyan at mga bagay ng mga tao. So, if people are pushed at the edge, talagang hirapan.
In academic sense mo, parang yung sinasabi mo ba, there is now a conflict, not only of the territory, but yung democratic institutions that we have now, and the indigenous o yung traditional institutions and behavior and thinking na also a reality on the ground.
On the ground.
No? Parang hindi pa sila na-merge at nag-create pa sila ng conflict. So, somehow, well, I have read one article on that aspect mo, yung isang libro ng UN na pinadala sa akin. Yung sinasabi nila na indigenizing democracy.
Yes.
Or democratizing the indigenous. So somehow there should be harmony between the democratic institutions na galing sa Europa, galing sa Amerika, na dinala dito sa atin, na habang tayo naman ay meron na tayong dating mga indigenous cultures, no, mga indigenous practices, mga paniwala, government justice system na nagko-conflict sa mga democratic institutions na ito. So probably you were referring to that also.
Yeah, tama yun. Actually, that's the way to move forward.
And the dialogue should be an instrument to harmonize these various conflicts between democracy or democratic institutions and the indigenous cultures. No?
Totoo.
So, dito tayo mo sa we end that point of about the current situation. Anong nakikita mong future? Moving forward, anong nakikita mo? And ano dapat?
Kumbaga, given na yan na meron tayong states, meron tayong post-colonial government, the Malaysia, and even the Philippine, Indonesian government. But the thing is, we have to transcend that. We have to look beyond that. We are all Southeast Asian. Parang yung advocacy natin noon na tayong lahat ay indigenous people. Huwag natin i-limit yung Kristiyano, Muslim, but we look into our roots, we study our roots, and we try to nurture that.
So, palagay mo, yun ang magiging dapat na framework ng lahat.
Yes,
we have to accept the reality na meron tayong pinanggalingan.
Yes.
We have a very rich history. As
pero
a
meron
people,
tayong reality ngayon na
but
Philippine
meron din tayong
government
reality ngayon, democratic institutions coming from outside na we have to live with. So somehow, yung challenges na yun ang dapat na ma-carry out natin. But how do you propose to do that in academic sense?
Well, we have to correct our textbooks. We have to let our children, our students understand na ganun yung history. Huwag mong ituro sa students natin na yung ang history ng Pilipinas nagsimula 1521. Before that, walang history ng Pilipinas. Talagang magkakagulo ka. So, but you have to teach people to understand their identities, kung saan sila nanggaling. And you try to nurture that. Ang mahirap kasi doon sa Luzon and Visayas, nung na-colonize tayo ng Espanyol, sinira ng mga Spanish yung roots mo. Hindi mo na matatrace yung kanino ninuan mo. Hindi katulad sa Mindanao na kami, like for example, ako, I can trace my great-great-great-great-grandfather. Di ba? Talagang na-preserve namin yung pangalan. So ang point there is, history can be a good starting point of our identity, but we have to factor in yung present situation, and we have to move forward, na we have to be inclusive, na tayong lahat, ngayon, bagong word lang yung Filipino, but some of us are trying to accept now na Filipino nga tayo, and then we try to define our future based on things that can give good to all of us.
Now, lastly, anong recommendation mo sa Philippine government? Anong dapat gawin ng Philippine government vis-a-vis the future of this conflict?
Sa ngayon, particularly sa Sabah, the Philippine government should really, through its NCCA, National Culture and Arts, through the different arms niya, they try to really explore and study the history of the people, especially the Tausugs, the Iranons, the Magindanaons, all the different tribes, even the indigenous peoples.
And teach that to the people.
Yeah, and teach that to the people. Incorporate that into the DepEd textbooks. Wag tayo gumawa pa ng panibagong history, di ba? Nandiyan yan eh. The government should really spend more time in celebrating our origins, our history, our identities. And second, the government should also bigyan mo lang ng recognition. Hindi naman sinasabing bigyan mo ng power, but a mere recognition of the datus because they are part of our history na marami ding nagawa at maraming naitulong. Especially the Sultanate of Sulu. Diba? Kahit paano, Jolo at that time was, wala pang Manila, wala pang Cebu, wala pang Davao. Jolo is a center of trade.
The borderless trade. No?
It reaches England, it reaches China. So yung mga ganun ba, na parang ang tao naman madaling kausap eh.
But who's doing this most? Is the Al-Kalam engaged?
Yeah, we are engaged in that. But
so,
we are
morning si Dato Mos ginbitan nato because he is in the academe and yung institute na minamanage niya precisely deals with this kind of challenges.
Yes.
So, can you explain most now yung ginagawa niyo sa Al-Kalam in relation to
okay, so
the history of
yung
Mindanao?
office po namin, Al-Kalam Institute for Islamic Identities and Dialogue in Southeast Asia. So it's not only in Mindanao, it covers the Southeast Asian links natin sa different countries. Yung Al-Kalam po, ang meaning niya is it's the pen. It's an Arabic word which means the pen. And it's also the 68th chapter of the Holy Quran in which in that chapter in the Holy Quran, it reminds mankind to use their intellect. Kumbaga, wag tayo maging too much emotional. Mag-aral tayo and we try to educate our people. And right now, we are doing so many dialogue, we are doing so many community engagement, and most of all, we do so many research that can really help academia and government institutions.
So thank you very much, Mos, for those parting words. Mga Gala, once again, this is your host, Ednar Dayanghirang, for Pambansang Dialogue. Good day.